Hello everyone. Welcome to the second section of data visualization. So in this section, we are going to discuss about methods available in Pandas to do data visualization. So particularly, we are going to explore about the plot method and the attributes and all the attributes arguments available in plot method and how we can use it to plot different data with different charts, different types of charts. Okay, so here I'm just going to create a series, okay, with random number with 10 series. Okay, so here I have given the index values from 10 to 100. That means 10 data. Okay, so 10 rows with random values. So if I need to plot this data visually, so this is just an index with some series, some value, random value. If I want to plot it, I can simply give the series dot plot method without any argument. So when I do it without any argument, by default, it will just take this index as x-axis from 0 to 90. And then this value, see, you can see, according to the minimum and maximum value, it will just take the y-axis values and it just plots the series. Let's do the same plotting for a data frame. So here I have created a data frame for 3 columns. Okay, 3 columns, and which I have labeled A, B, C, D. And the index value, the row value is going to be again same 10 to 100. That means 10 rows, 4 columns, and random number generated for 10 rows and 4 columns. So this is the data frame. And if I want to plot this data frame, simply I'm calling the plot method. And you can see for each column, it will randomly pick some color values and plot this as by default. When you call the plot method, it will just do the line plotting. So if I do shift tab, you can see the plot function and what are the attributes. We'll discuss it in detail. Okay. But when you call it by default, it will do the line plotting. Okay. So the plot has lot of several optional parameters. By default, it does the line plotting, but you can do lot other plot varieties. For example, area chart, bar horizontal chart, box plotting. So in the section 1, I have explained about different types of plot. All those plottings can be possible by passing this as an attribute, okay, kind attribute. Okay, maybe I'll call this syntax. You can look at this. Simple plot function can take these arguments. And if you look at the argument, you can see this kind parameter. So the kind parameter can take these values. When you pass line, by default, it is line. If you want to draw a bar chart, then you have to pass bar to kind parameter, and hist value will take histogram parameter like that. You can just look at the name that you have to provide to pick that particular plotting options. So this is one way to do it. You can just pass which kind of plotting that you want. You can pass that as a value to the kind parameter. So here I have passed kind parameter value hist. So that will create a histogram for the given value. For this particular data frame, this is the histogram. Okay, and then I have explained all those things. What is histogram, what is bar, all those things I have explained in section 1. Okay. And then bar, if I select bar, then you can see this is the plotting for bar. And box plotting, I'll explain the box plotting in detail in the upcoming section. But right now, just see if it doesn't need to, you don't need to give the particular plotting as a kind parameter. Even you can just pass that as a value, attribute value. If you say, you can either do plot kind bar, or you can do df dot plot dot bar. So that also will create the same bar. Okay, so there are 2 ways you can pick a chart in plot in pandas. Okay, so here this one for KDE, if you specify density, then it will chart this like this, or you can use the kind parameter with KDE value. Sorry, density value, density, or you can call this density as a function. Okay, so this is for kind argument. There are several other arguments that you can use to customize the plotting. Label for giving the legend, and then style to specify the line chart, and then alpha for transparency, kind as I have explained for different type of plotting. And in log is for logarithmic scaling, to provide logarithmic scaling. X-ticks and Y-ticks values to specify the X-axis and Y-axis ticks, this thing, the scaling value for X and Y-axis that can be specified in X and Y ticks. And to specify the limit, for example, here it is 0 to 10, right? For the X-axis, this is 0 to 10. Then you can specify it as X-lim. And for Y limitation, you can specify. So for example, here, the X limitation is 0 to 90, and Y limitation is -3 to 5. Like that, you can specify the limitation in the axis by using X-lim and Y-lim parameters. So these are the general argument for series related data, that is one single column. If you have multiple columns, then you can have some other arguments to customize the multiple column related data. Subplot, SARX, the figure X title, these are the other parameters, okay, that you can use to specify the customization. And then there are certain multiple column related data attributes also, arguments are also that, okay, which you can use. So maybe we'll see one by one how to customize the plotting. We'll see one by one in detail. So for this demo, I'm going to pick the data from GitHub. I have just selected some random data frame, okay, weather related data frame. You can just give the URL of the GitHub CSV file, and by using the read CSV, I have just put it in the data frame name weather. Now I want to plot the month and also the maximum. So every month, how in each and every month it is changed, the temperature maximum is getting changed. So if I want to see that information visually, then I'm calling this weather dot plot. And then in X-axis, I want to plot month. And in Y-axis, I want to plot the temperature maximum. You can look at this. By default, it will bring all the X-ticks, Y-ticks, and legend, all those things. So this size is default. Okay, so normally this default size is 6.4 width and 4.8 height. If you want to change it, you can change the figure size by using the fig size argument. So here, if you pass 10.8, the width will be 10 and the height will be 8. You can look at this. So the figure size can be changed by using fixed size argument. Okay, the next thing, color. To change the color, by default, it will always give this blue color. But if you want to change the color of the plot, then you can use the color argument and you can specify any color. Even simply if you say R, still that will work. Okay, or you can specify green, G, or you can give the full name. Okay, so you can just specify the color using color attribute. So figure size can be changed by fig size attribute. Color of the plot can be changed by color argument. And then the style of the line, by default, it is a solid line, but you can change the style of the line by using line style argument. Okay, so you can give solid or dotted or dashed or dash dot. So any of these 4 default size you can provide. So here I have selected dotted, so that will give the look like this. Okay, the line style can be changed by line style argument. And you can give the shorthand notation as well. Instead of doing color, you can simply say C. Either C or color will work. Or similarly for line style, you can even simply say LS argument, that also will pick. And instead of saying dotted, you can simply say the colon, that also will give you the same result. Okay, so here in this code, I have give the shorthand version, and instead of specifying the name of the style, I have given the style like this. And also you don't need to always give the color name. You can specify the hexadecimal notation that also can be converted to the actual color value. Okay, maybe I'll change this to FF. And you can see this is the color value. Okay, so hexadecimal color value. Next, I'm going to explain the title argument. So the title argument will help you to give the title for the figure. Okay, so you can see the maximum temperature has been added as a title. Okay, this is to set the title. Similarly, you can set the labels, X label and Y label here. Okay, so here I'm saying X label, month, and Y label, temperature. Okay, you can see. For that, you have to use the X label argument and Y label argument. And also the legend one. Legend will be automatically created. When you call the plot method, based on the value, Y value, the legend will be created. Here, maximum is the Y value, right? So maximum. When you just do the plotting for all the weather, for example, here, if you look at the data frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 arguments are there, right? So we are plotting everything against the month. In that case, you can see the sun, rain, T max, T minimum, and the year. Everything has been plotted against the month, not against the month. I'm just simply calling I'm not specifying anything. I'm simply plotting the data frame here. So I'm just specifying the line. If you want to do bar, then you can do the bar. Should be lowercase. Okay, but I'm just specifying line. So you can see the legend, this one, what it gives the values of each variable. That is called legend. If you don't want this legend, then you can simply say the legend false. That will take away the legend. But you can customize the legend, like where you want to place the legend and how you want to label the legend. All those things can be done by using the matplotlib library. From matplotlib library, I'm just using the pyplot package where it provides all the possible customization options. So I'm just importing the matplotlib with pyplot. And then here I'm using the legend method from the pyplot. Okay. So here I have specified 4 variables. I just want to display only 4 variables. So it will just pick the first 4 variable. And then location, I'm just specifying upper left. You can change the location. If you just specify best, then it will just pick a best location, available best location itself. If you don't have any preference, then you can simply give best here so that it will just put the legend wherever the space is available. Or you can specify upper left, bottom left, like that. You can specify the position by using the location argument. And then title can be specified by using the title of this legend can be specified inside this legend argument with the title argument. Okay, and then here, I'm just going to explain about the ticks. Okay, ticks are the divisions that that we will specify in the X and Y axis. We can customize it. So here I'm customizing the X ticks with range 1 to 13. That means 1 to 12. The X axis will place 1 to 12. And then Y ticks 0 to 20. 0 to 20. And if you don't want to specify any ticks, then you can simply specify empty tuple. So it will not place any ticks in the x-axis if you specify empty tuple. Next, we're going to see about how to customize the font size and font weight. For that, we'll use font size and font weight attribute. A font weight attribute is not, argument is not there in the pandas plot method. For that, we need to use pyplot from matplotlib. First, let's see how to change the font size. For that, you have to simply add the argument font size and specify what is the size that you need. That size font will be applied. Okay, wherever the font is there, the font size will be changed. If you want to change the font weight, you want to bold that, then you can use matplotlib. Already I have imported matplotlib here. I'm just going to specify the title. I want it to be bolded. Okay, so here I'm saying plt.title And then font weight, I'm passing it as a parameter. Similarly, if I want to bold the Y label as well, then I'm specifying plt.y label font weight bold. Okay, wherever you want to have the bolded font, you can use font weight parameter with bold value and apply it in that particular text where you want to apply it. Okay, so next we are going to discuss about how to add grid. So when you want to make it more visible, more easily plot the value, if you want to give the visual idea of the plotting, the numerical value, then you can add grid. So then it will be more easier. So you can see that in 7th month, it is exactly 17. Like that, you can give more visual clarity. For that, you can add grid. So to add grid, you have to specify the argument with the Boolean value true. So that will add grid. Next, we're going to discuss about subplotting. So to add subplotting, you have to say subplots true. So when I do that for the whole data frame, so it will just take each argument, each variable, that means each column, and plot it against the index. So here the index is 0 to 12. So it has 5 columns. All those 5 columns will be plotted against the index. Okay. So for that, you have to specify subplots true. So that will create the subplots by default. Okay, now we're going to discuss about how we can use the other advanced plotting options, okay, to plot different types of variety. So here we have discussed about how to customize the plot by using its argument. Next, we are going to discuss about different types of plotting options available in Pandas. So I have created a data frame, okay, with these 4 values. Maybe I will just show you how it looks like. So this is the data frame that I have created. And when I apply the bar plotting, then it will look like this. If you don't want this for A, B, C, D, all those A, B, C, D value with this 1, 2, 3 as exact index values, it has plotted it. Okay, the features are A, B, C, D, and the indexes in x-axis and these values in y-axis. If you want to plot all this A, B, C, D stock together in a single line, then you can do that by saying stock true. Okay, for example, here, if I say stock you can see all those four variables columns has been stocked together. If you use bar H, then it will create the horizontal bar. Okay, and I have specified start true. And if you want to provide the transparency, then you can provide the transparency by specifying the alpha parameter. Okay. Next, we're going to create one more data frame here. This time, I'm just going to take a stock data frame so that we can explore different types of sorting options available in detail. So use this URL and get this data frame. Okay, so this is stock data frame. I have created a variable data set URL, sorry, DF, and I have read the CSV file. You can look at this. So I have just took the first 10 rows here. So this is how the data frame looks like from this data set. So if you can see that it has 3 main columns. So if I simply use the line plotting, then I can just call it based on the 3 column value that will be taken, and by default it will be added in the legend. Okay, so this is for simple line plotting. If I don't want to take all the column, if I want to customize, if I'm picking only 1 or 2 column, then you can pick it and pass it as a list here. So in the L, it will just take all the months, so the index value 0, 4, 5. L it will take everything. But in Y, it just take only 2 columns. Okay, when I run this, you can see this is what I get. So if I want to, for this, if I create the bar chart, then I'm passing the kind bar, kind with bar value, you can see. So this is what I get for all the X values, the given index X value. So if you look at the data, you can see the data is not normalized. May month has 2 values, and June has 6 values, and June has 4 values, and July has 4 value. Like that, it is not normalized. If you want to normalize it, you want to display only one value for each month, then you can do that by specifying resample method. So the resample method based on month, you want to normalize it. First, we can normalize it so that it gives you the monthly data. So for that, you have to use the rule parameter M based on the month you're doing it and how value want to see. For example, you can see there are 2 values for May, means which one we have to take. Do we need to take max value, or do we need to take minimum value or mean value? So here I have said I want to take the mean value. Then it will take the mean of the given month, and then it will just display that as 12 rows. Okay, if I create the bar chart here, you can see it creates the bar chart for 12 months. And then stack true. So the stack true, that will just pile up the value of each company according to the month. Okay. So if I do the histogram for the same thing, I can use the kind histogram. I can select all the values. Simply if I use DF monthly plot hist, that will do DF dot. So this monthly mean value, I have saved it in the monthly plot. So if I simply say kind hist, it will create the histogram for all 3 companies. If I want to do that only for 2 companies, I don't want to include this one, the AAPL, then I can specify it by specifying here, DF monthly. Sorry, I have to pass. So you can see here I have just plotted the monthly data of all companies. Here I have just selected only 2 companies, FB and MFST, and I have plotted it. Okay, from the monthly data options. Okay, this is about histogram. You can, when you perform the histogram, you can customize the bins. Here you don't have any customization in bin, but here you have customized the bin in a way that you want 25. You can see bins 25. So each bin value is separated with 25 value. Okay. So all those things we have discussed in the plot method: figure size, font weight, kind, all those customizing options that we have done can be applicable in all those things in all different plots. Okay. Next, we're going to see box plotting. So what is box plotting? Box plotting is also known as whisker plotting. Okay, so when you do the box plotting, you can retrieve 5 statistical data from the box plot. It gives you the minimum, maximum value, first quartile, third quartile value, and median value. So all these 5 the summary of these 5 information can be retrieved. So maybe I'll explain what is box plotting. So it will always help you to give the summary of these 5 value: minimum, maximum, first quartile, third quartile, and median. For example, we'll take this example given here. If you take 10 boxes, okay, with a weight of 10 boxes of something, and here there is the data, and to create box plot, first you have to, step 1 is you have to order the data from smallest to, you have to put it in ascending order. So here it is already in the ascending order. Once you set it as an ascending order, you have to find the median value. Here median value is 30 and 34. So the median value is 32. So when you set it in ascending order, if there is only one middle value, that middle value will be taken. If there are 2 middle values, then the average will be taken as a median. And let's see, minimum and maximum here. The minimum is 35, maximum is 38, and the median is 32. We have to figure out what is first quartile and what is third quartile. First quartile is nothing but you have to pick it to you have to split it to 3 quartiles. And what is the last value in the first quartile? Here, for example, you can see 29 is the last value. So this is the first quartile value. The median of the data points left to the median. So in the left to the medians, what is this? 29. And right to the median will be the the third quartile. Here, what is the median? 34. What is right to the median? 35 is the right to the median. So 35 will be the third quartile value. So as a summary, 25 minimum, 38 maximum, median value 32, and the first quartile is 29, and the third quartile is 35. So this is what we are going to plot. When you do the plotting of box, it will just do the statistical analysis, and then it will do the plotting based on this, whatever I have explained. It will do everything internally, and it will simply plot the result. Okay. So for example, in this given example, the box plotting will be like this. So 25 minimum, 38 maximum, median value 32, and 29 will be the first quartile value, and this is the last quartile value. Okay, so if you look at this here, for this category, 150, whatever, 150 will be the median value, and this value or around 120 will be the first quartile, and this is the last quartile, and this is the minimum, and this is the maximum. So this is how you have to interpret the box plotting. You can either do the horizontal box plotting or vertical box plotting. So this is normally by default, it is vertical box plotting. So you can see with each company value. So when you do the normal one, the index value, the companies will be, the variables will be in the x-axis and the values will be in y-axis. Again, I'll show you the data. You can look at this. These values will be in x-axis and this value will be in y-axis. Okay, if you do this vertical bar, horizontal bar, then you have to do vertical false. Then it will give you the horizontal. So when you specify by default, it will give you the vertical. If you want to do the horizontal, then you have to specify vert false, vert argument with false value. Then area plotting. Area plotting is the extension of line chart. Look at the line chart here for this given data. So if you do the area charting, then all this value below this will be filled with blue, and this will be filled with green, and this will be filled with orange, like this. Okay, this will give you the area plotting, the whole value. So the area plotting is like extension of line chart that fills the region between the line chart along with the x-axis with particular value. For each variable, it will just pick a color and just fill the area with that color. Okay, and by default, legend will be visible. Next, we are going to discuss about pie plotting. So pie plotting will be mostly appropriate when you give the cumulative summation of all the given variables is 100. For example, here 34, 35, 31. So the summation value is 100. In that case only, you can use the pie plot. Okay, so I'm just since we have 12, we cannot do so. I'm just resampling based on the month. The mean value, I'm just taking the first the 3 months, first 3 months. Okay, so that is March, April, May. Mean value. So I have just specified the kind, pie plot, and legend. This auto PCT is the add person. This argument takes care of percentage. It helps to add percentage to each constituents of the pie chart. Each region of the pie chart. So if you say percentage 0.1.1 that means it forms the percentage 10th place. If you say 1.2, then it is 100th place. It will just take the 100th place. If you say 1.3F, then it will take the 1000th place. Here you're saying 0.1, then it will take the first place. And here, instead of specifying this, I'm just specifying this is March, this is May, and this is April. Okay. I'm just giving the label. scatter plot. So this is the scatter plot value where I'm just going to take x-axis MFST and y-axis a particular company. Okay, so because scatter you can do only for two variables. Scatter always will help you to find the relationship between two values. For example, if you want to analyze the stock of FB, then you can see this is the stock value of FB. This here I'm just doing FB versus AAPL company. But if you want to analyze a particular month, that also you can provide, but normally the scatter plot will always help you to find the relationship between two companies, okay, two variables. So next we're going to discuss about hexabin plot. So when the data is very dense, then you want to look at the quantity information in detail, then you can go for the hexabin plot. So this is similar like scatter plot, but the scatter plot will not speak about the density, but where in hexabin, it will speak about the density. Look at this. Here, this one just space, there is some correlation here. But when you do this in the hexabin, it will speak about the density, the connection between these two variables. So when the number of data points is enormous and each data point can't be plotted separately, then this will cover the area. Okay, since it speaks about the area, it's more like covering that area. So it's better to use this kind of plot to represent the form in honeycomb, that when the density of the data cannot be covered in scatter plot, cannot be visibly, we cannot show the relationship between these variables visibly. When we need to interpret it in terms of density, then we can go for the hexabin plot. Okay, so here also you can just do the relationship data that you can compare the relationship between two variables like scatter plot. You can even do the 3D scatter plot or 3D hexabin where you can bring in the third dimension and it will give you the third, it as a cube, comparison as a cube. It will just pick the relationship between the three variables in that case. Okay, so I'm not covering the 3D graph here. We're just focusing on 2D graph. So the next one we're going to see KDE plot. Okay, this one focuses on KDE means kernel density estimate. Okay, it focuses on probability density of a given data frame. Okay, so by default it gives the Gaussian density, probability density, how the variation of the density can be shown by using KDE plotting. Okay, for that you have to give the kind KDE, or sometimes you can even specify density. Maybe I'll use density and show you. Okay, either you can use density or KDE. That will give you the same result. Okay, so in this section, we have discussed about Pandas library, the options available in Pandas library to perform data visualization. So we have discussed about what are the options, the arguments that we can use to customize the plotting, like changing the color of the plot, figure size, font size, tick value, label value, title, legend, and then line style, all those things we have discussed. And then we discussed about different plotting options and the arguments that is connected to the different types of plotting. Okay, so all those things that we have discussed, covering everything in plot method of Pandas. So next section, we're going to discuss about Matplotlib library and the options available in Matplotlib library to provide data visualization. Thank you.